The Old Woman Who Lived with 92 Ghosts, Part 2 by Leonor Claire ng The Darkest Secret. Nangyari. Kalbo.
You do remember these images, don't you? These photos were the terrifying evidence of the video you are now watching on screen. It was while reading the comments on that footage that I realized that many of you had missed it because you thought it was simply a story without evidence, without imagining the almost 10 unique photos that Carlos had attached. Images that showed specters, ghosts, or perhaps even demons with whom he had to live with as a child. If you haven't seen this video, I recommend you watch it, since a little more than 2 weeks ago I uploaded a special video to my channel, a different one that generated quite a few reactions from you. It was the story of Carlos Jara, a man who wrote us a long email that linked a couple of Google Drive folders. He was telling me how he inherited the house from Carmen, his grandmother, who passed away a few years ago. It was while remodeling that he found this briefcase. Inside, it contained all those photos that I showed you and many more. Images that were also accompanied by notes indicating the behavior and description of people who were apparently invoked in some sort of ritual, as Carlos called them in his email. I could summarize that video here, but I prefer that you see it yourself. So if you still haven't watched it in its entirety, pause this video and go watch it, because tonight I will pay my debt. Tonight I will inform you of the complete description of 3 of the 84 successful sessions that Carmen carried out, because as many suspected, she apparently kept a very detailed log with everything, what occurred, what they did, even what was said in those sessions. This is one of the photos that Carlos took of the many papers that were inside the briefcase. What is shown here is the complete description that occurred in session number 56. That is why I have blurred it out to only show you it when we get to that session, since what is revealed to us on this page is spectacular. In his email, in those Google Drive folders, Carlos kindly arranged the material for me in such a way that all the information related to the first session and the others were grouped by date and even by name of each entity. I was going through them, giving small glances to these sheets, when I noticed a detail. Apparently, Carmen and her friends who participated in these sessions were learning about this as they went along, since the first documents that describe these things are not as detailed and as specified as the others. They seem more like a journal entry than anything else, but when you look at the others, you can see how they are taking on a complex, almost scientific structure. For example, from session number 7 onwards, all the logs have the following structure.
Oh, talaga?
However, the first sessions were much simpler. The documents had only 3 things. Number 1, date, place, and time. Number 2, trigger object. Number 3, process, and result. This document that you now see on the screen is according to what Carlos managed to collect, the oldest document without considering newspapers and letters that were found in the briefcase. We will begin this video by analyzing this, which begins by showing us the following information. Date, place, and time, August 22nd, 1966, House of Maria de la Torre, around 7 p.m. Trigger object, toy cup, and it ends by detailing the process and result. This is apparently the first registry of these sessions. Carlos believes that they had already done other sessions before. Later, you will know why.
Nagse-session pala to eh. Parang no? Ang dami nilang session. Nakaka-enjoy ba mag-session? Comment nga kayo sa baba.
The writing is not very easy to understand, but Carlos even went through the trouble to transcribe it with his mother, who was the person who best knew Carmen's writing. First, and as can be seen at the top of the sheet, the date and a place appear. Apparently, the first sessions were not held at Carmen's house, but at one of her friends. Below is something unusual, something that no other document has. An entry more similar to a life diary than to a log. Fourth session. This has been the most intense and thrilling session we've had so far. Unlike the 3 previous times, Maria did not use the same rosary. This time she brought a teddy bear. She placed it in the center and we began to do the ritual. We replicated the same as in the past sessions. All the curtains closed, the lights off. Only the candles were to be the only source of light. We closed our eyes while Maria told the story of this stuffed animal. According to her, the owner was a girl who had fallen into a well and unfortunately died. Parents hired Maria so that their daughter's spirit would rest in peace, supposedly after paranormal phenomena. I did not believe her very much, especially because later Maria said that since she has this stuffed animal with her, here in the house sometimes she is awakened at dawn by sounds of dishes moving in the kitchen. This is how she determined that the girl's energy sometimes managed to get out of the stuffed animal, and that Maria suspected that the girl's ghost wanted to come out to play with teacups. Then Maria got up, took the stuffed animal, and took it away. We still couldn't open our eyes, so she described to us out loud everything she was doing. She took the stuffed animal to the kitchen, then brought it along with a set of toy teacups, and placed it in the center of the circle of candles. This was the trigger object. Trigger object, toy teacup, result and observations. Maria put the bear sitting on one of the plastic chairs and asked us to tune in the same feeling that the girl felt for it, to try to reach that same feeling. All this without us opening our eyes. Susana, Edulia, and I sat there holding hands and with our eyes closed for at least 40 minutes. Maria repeated over and over again in a childish voice, phrases as if she were speaking to a real girl. She invited her to play tea time with her. It wasn't until she stepped inside the circle of candles and pretended that the stuffed animal was drinking tea that the noises began to be heard. I was still suspicious of the farce because everyone but Maria had to keep our eyes closed. Sure, it's very easy to fool people like that if they can't see the paranormal occurring. But up to here, I still can't explain how she did the voices. and this time it was repeated. The very low voice of a small girl could be heard talking to Maria. The voice was there. I'm sure it was there. Edulia squeezed my hand very hard. The most interesting thing is that she told her I brought some friends. Is it okay if they can come play with us? It was like she was talking to her daughter. She had to have repeated that phrase about 20 times until a sort of yes was heard. Only then did Maria give us permission to open our eyes. What I saw was astonishing.
Nakita. Ah.
A plastic toy plate slid off by itself a couple of times. There was no way this could have been done by Maria. We couldn't talk or move because of the risk that the girl will get scared off. But among us, we gave each other looks. Here ends the writing of this first experience. Carlos emphasizes this first document since he suspects that no one else was aware of the first logs other than Carmen. Since if you look closely, they have too many personal appreciations. He believes that this session was so incredible for her that she decided to write down everything that happened so that Carmen could remember it better over time, thinking perhaps that it would be a once-in-a-million experience. It was surely her initiative to keep the registry when this became periodic. In addition, he believes that there were pages before these, perhaps with the detail of that session where the rosary spectrum was invoked. Carlos tells me that this was never referred to again. From here on out, though, things start to get more structured and somewhat more professional.
Hello YouTube, it's me again, Ponggoy!
Putang na naman!